Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch. Our best of 2022 week for games has begun, and we're here to talk about our personal picks for our favorite games of 2022. Of course, you can find all of our collective Explosion Network picks for the best games posting throughout the week. Today's Tuesday when this is posting. If you're listening to it, day of release. The 10th, we'll have 2 lists out today, 2 lists tomorrow, 2 lists yesterday, all the way in the leading up to this Saturday when our top 10, Explosion Network's official top 10 games of 2022 will post with another special episode of Arcade Couch where we're discussing our Game of the Year winner. But for today, joining me, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to hear all about Elden Ring from you.
It's such a joke. I want to touch on that in 2 seconds. Also here, Kieran Marchant.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to talk about all these games that I was going to play and finish in the time off that we had. I didn't. Actually, in case, just for funsies, I did play one game that wasn't Overwatch 2, and I have put 30-something hours into it. If either of you could guess what it is, I don't know, Frozen Coke bet.
What has been really popular on Twitter recently that Kieran got FOMO about and would have started playing? That's put 30 hours into. I feel like I could say The Witcher, but it's not probably The Witcher. I don't know. What else is it? Can you think of anything that's been like really popping off?
No,
it's really kind of super random. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, but no. But tell me or tell me not. Did you not start playing it because people were playing it or something?
Not necessarily.
Oh, is it on Game?
Maybe I saw a YouTube video or two of it.
Is it on Game Pass?
But it's not. It's not. All right. I'll
20 questions.
I'll narrow the field of games. It is on the Nintendo Switch.
Whoa. Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild?
Like there, 30-something hours into Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Oh.
There you go. Frozen Cake. Thank you.
I think the moment I walked you to it, but it's fine.
It's like, what's the only game worth playing on the Nintendo Switch?
Exactly. I literally went and bought a new Pro Controller for my fucking Switch because I couldn't find my old one, because I hate the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are too small for my thumbs.
Do you reckon you're actually going to finish it?
You know how hard it is? You know how fucking hard it is for this? I actually think I'm definitely going to finish it. You know how hard it is to find one of these Pro Controllers? It's fucking insane.
Put an AirTag on it.
Went to EB Games. They're like, even though, actually, brick and mortar stores, fuck you. I went to EB Games. They have the box on the shelf.
Wow, just firing shots at everybody.
Yeah.
I am. And they had the box on the shelf. I went and grabbed the box, took it to the counter. They're like, oh, actually, no, we're out of stock of those. Yep. Well, what the fuck's this on your shelf then?
Now, I can answer this.
Pre-order.
I can answer this. They send... If we took down every one of those display boxes in the store I work in that we don't have stock of, there would be shelves that are just fucking empty.
Well, there was literally two of them on and this is where I probably should have got the message. There was 2 boxes of it on a shelf that literally only I could have reached being 6 foot. Like, I had to, like, properly stretch.
Display boxes in a store are never one-to-one equations for...
And they had a price on it. Yeah. It had a price on it and everything. I was just like, you motherfucker. And then eventually I found it in Big W. I went to JB Hi-Fi, almost bought a third-party controller, and then talked myself out of it, because that ain't me. I ain't doing that.
No.
Fuck that. Yeah. No, that was my story. That's my life.
There you
go. Yeah.
Well, that's very different Overwatch.
Breath of the Wild didn't come out this year. No. Last year. Good game, though. Great game.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard. Well, I mean, you might finish it by the time we get back to recording our first normal 2023 episode.
I hope so. Like, it's something I'm definitely chipping away at and playing a lot of. There's a lot of just exploration. Like, I've done 2 of the 4 Divine Beasts already and stuff like that.
Like, I'm trying to remember now. Like, we're recording this the first week of 2023 just to sort of date this ahead of our games week is kicking off in a couple of weeks.
So maybe Kieran will finish it by the end of 2023.
Well, no. I was going to say, I don't know if we have a recording.
Well, no, because
Kieran, you don't have a recording with us next week at all, so...
No, I don't think so.
No.
But no, literally, I think my literal thing is that I was like, I've been watching... You know what it is? No. I got this really random thing into listening to video essays about Zelda. And about the series, and about... Because I think the one that got me was like, why Twilight Princess was the disaster that saved Zelda. And yeah, no, that's what it was. And then I went, fuck it, I'll play Breath of the Wild.
Fair enough. Well, yeah,
And I'll be ready for the second
You
one.
do not record another podcast with us for 14 days. So,
Damn.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
all right. I need to. All right.
okay, just putting that into perspective. So you've got time.
All right.
Will you beat it, do you reckon, by the time we're recording that arcade couch?
Only because it is a fantastic
If you beat
game
it, I'll
and me
let you
getting-
not buy me that frozen Coke.
It's $1. I'll fucking buy you a frozen Coke without the fucking bet. It is.
Oh, you say that, but where's my merch, motherfucker? 2023, 2022
Have you sent me
gold,
some links of what you want?
motherfucker.
Have you sent me some links of what you want? I said, send me links and I'll buy you fucking whatever. But nah, fucking, that's fine.
All right, let's get into it. Top 10 personal games of 2022. There's no way Kieran doesn't pick something that isn't like, oh, Overwatch before it dies. And then Overwatch 2. Some random ass shit. All right, let's go with Ash. Kick us off. Number 10.
Number 10. Something that I've got into very late in the year. Something that had been buzzed about all year, and just something that I hadn't really looked into. Played it on my mobile phone. It's like, oh, this is all right. I'll be interested to see what it's like on an actual gaming platform or something with a controller.
Worse is, though, is that your phone has a better screen than whatever. You ever played on.
No, I was playing it on my laptop, so I mean.
Oh, there he goes. All right, he actually was playing on decent hardware. That's fine.
Yeah, my number 10 is Vampire Survivors. The, I guess, idle roguelike, where you just take out waves and waves of enemies, as many as you possibly can, earning XP and unlocking different things, and just creating combos of weapons to go together to create more powerful weapons. Just a constant upgrading thing. There's just a satisfying element to wiping out hordes and hordes of creatures while watching like a timer go up, coins going up, all these numbers kind of going up. It's very, very satisfying. So yeah, Vampire Survivors number 10. I think it's still solid on a mobile phone, but yeah, obviously playing it on my PC on my laptop was the preferred experience. Just with the controller, it's much easier. Yeah.
Kieran, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is a Kieran marching classic. The game where Kieran gets it, puts like 1 billion hours into it in like the first 2 weeks and then never touches it again.
That's going to be
I thoroughly
it's going to be your
enjoyed
whole
that period
fucking
of
list,
time.
isn't it? There's every year we do this podcast, and it's just Kieran's got 8 games he played 50% of, and 2 he actually finished. All right, go on.
This is Marvel Snap, the only
Oh,
mobile
you can't
game I
finish. Yeah, that's
actually
fine. That's fine. You can't finish.
That's
that.
fine. There's no ending.
No,
to
you
that
can't
one.
finish it. But I put like fucking that first week where you guys were like, yeah, I'm like level something. I'm like level 70. I'm like level, and I was like, yeah, I'm like 200 and something.
Yeah, you were ahead. You were leading the pack.
You were ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went very hard at the start, and I enjoyed it a lot. I think the game is extremely intuitive. The artwork's great. Of course it is. It's coming from Marvel themselves. Really fun and easy game to get into, and the kind of the understanding of quick and simple matches that I think only had 5 or 6 turns in it. Was absolutely fantastic. I know I'm presuming both of you have this a lot higher in your list with the amount of time you both have spent on this, but no, I think Marvel Snap is very deserving, which is quite surprising for me with mobile games.
Yeah. Number 10 on my list, Splatoon 3. A game I wish I had actually had more time to play, but I'll probably, for the I think I put maybe 10 hours into it or something like that, which is, like decent chunk of time, but not like hundreds like I'm sure a lot of people have. But this was I'd been really looking forward to getting into Splatoon 3 because I liked what I played at 2, but just wanted to sort of get on the ground floor, and I'm keen to jump into more, hopefully more Splatoon 3 throughout the year as they do events and stuff. But that game is just a lot of fun when it's actually working. It had like a sort of a rough launch, I guess, but it's just, I guess if you watch it without playing it, you'll be like, what's the deal? Like, it just looks like another third-person shooter. But when you actually you start unlocking the weapons, and you're seeing different people like choose different tactics, like using the roller ball thing to play more just about like painting the area rather than dealing with opponents, and you get to mix up different modes where you there's one can't remember the name of it now, but there's one where there's like this very thin platform that just rotates all around. It's constantly moving. It's sort of like King of the Hill. So track the amount of time that a team's staying on top of it, and you're constantly like trying to stay on that and paint around areas so you could quickly like squid up walls and like fly on top of it and stuff. Like, it definitely is one of Nintendo's, I guess, their most recent IPs that are like intuitive and different and actually like sort of hits a genre that they didn't really have on their platform. So I was having a lot of fun with Splatoon 3, and the single player is like fine, but like at least it's there. The co-op versus AI stuff is like not anywhere near as good as the multiplayer stuff, but like when you get sick of playing the versus mode stuff, jumping into that and just teaming up with people to take on AI enemies over rounds is a lot of fun as well. So yeah, Splatoon 3 is my number 10. Ash, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is the PlayStation indie darling, Stray. A game that we'd been anticipating for several years. I think it was at the PS5 launch. A game where you play as a cat trying to get back to the surface of the planet so he can be with his cat friends again. But you're in this post-apocalyptic robot world and having to deal with all the different people in this little city. And then, as you work your way up, things get weirder and more bizarre. Just a great short experience. I think I played it in like a day, I want to say, off the top of my head.
I think it
was like 6 to 8 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a really great experience. Lots of playing as a cat was really fun, surprisingly. Lots of adorable moments and then some crazy moments, I think. I think I tweeted... No, I messaged Dylan at one point about, like, this level is absolutely crazy. It's, like, totally inspired by this other thing. But yeah, I think, of course, it's gotten a heap of praise over this Into the Year season. It was a game that like hit a lot for a lot of people, and I'm one of them.
Kieran, what's your next pick?
Next one is a game I've actually finished. At least finished the campaign and the main story and got into the end game of was Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I am a big fan of the Borderlands series, and Tiny Tina has always been a character that is close to my heart. And then on top of that, Dungeons and Dragons is, one of my favorite things in the world. So to play through Tiny Tina's Wonderland was a real joy. It's great Borderlands writing. It was true to itself a lot more than the past Borderlands 3 was for me. Sure, some of the combat didn't quite mix, or the focus on melee combat didn't always flow very well, but I think overall it was a return to form for the Borderlands team and for Gearbox, and I absolutely adored every single moment of it. I think it's a fantastic co-op game, as a lot of the Borderlands games are. So I definitely recommend to play it with friends. But it's definitely deserving the number 9 spot on my list.
Cool. My number 9 is Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Wow, a year you can have 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
So this is of course, the Pokemon game that came out early 2022. Some elements of this like carried over, and you could see some DNA in I'm forgetting what the fuck they even call it. The Scarlet Violet in November, but for the most part, like looking back on the year, this release like didn't have any of the bugs, didn't have any of like the problems that Scarlet Violet had. Like, sure, the only complaint people had, I think, at launch for this one was like, it just shows the Switch's age, and like all of that. Like, not to say that they're not complaints you can't have, but at least they're just like more like just a matter of fact of the way of release sort of thing. But I had a lot of fun playing this one. Obviously, it was less focused on battling and more about just actually sneaking around in grass, throwing Pokeballs at critters and capturing them. There was some battling, and you could battle wild Pokemon, but like I like the whole origin story thing of you're just sort of doing these missions and exploring and sort of creating the first Pokedex. It was a not a super in-depth story considering it's a Pokemon game, but I did find it to be a more interesting Pokemon story than I'd experienced in years, just because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like the way the Pokeballs were changed. Like you've got these very like period authentic Pokeballs, instead of like the ones that we're used to in the games now and stuff like that. So there's lots of really cool things in here in the Hisuian region in general, with the few exclusives or region exclusives that were in this that die off, I guess, and become extinct were kind of cool. So yeah, that's my number 9. Ash, swing it back to number 8.
Number 8, a game I reviewed back at the start of 2022. Nobody Saves the World from Drinkbox Studios. Fun little roguelike adventure game where you inhabit multiple forms, each one having their own different abilities and kind of mixing and matching, and then having this kind of massive Metroidvania, I guess, kind of overworld. We have to try and complete all these different little missions around the world, take out bosses, fight in dungeons. Yeah, it was just a really fun game with a lot of creativity. I loved the art style. Just a lot of the humor was really funny. It was just a smaller game, but I had a great time playing it. And, I think I was 100%ing all the different forms because I wanted to get the most out of all of them and everything. So yeah, it was a game that I put heaps of time into this year.
There was another similar to Pokemon. It was like a January release, I think.
Yeah. January release.
Kieran, what's your number 8?
My number 8, something I reviewed in the quarter 3 of this year, was Return to Monkey Island. I am a very big LucasArts fan and enjoyer of point-and-click adventures. And, to see Ron Gilbert come back with Return to Monkey Island, again, another game that was an absolutely fantastic journey. Sure, the payoff isn't amazing, and it's kind of akin to the Monkey Island payoffs of old, but it's still a fantastic and interesting journey that is accessible for both new people to the genre and to returning faces. Like, I think the level of depth that it goes to make 2 different versions of the same puzzles and then to add extra puzzles on top of that for the advanced playthrough is absolutely fantastic. I think, whatever backlash there was when the trailers were initially announced over its look, I think the art style is absolutely beautiful. The voice acting is great, and the music is just nostalgic in so many ways. So, it was absolutely great.
Number 3. Number 8. I guess my third pick. I guess. Yeah, I was like, number 8 for me is a game I've been really, really looking forward to. It is Bayonetta 3.
Holy shit, that is low on the list. I'm surprised.
I put it where I actually feel. No, I could put it higher just to fuck with you, but yeah, I put it where I actually deserve. Games really good, like combat wise, really good still. Like it's Bayonetta. I didn't love, like it's enjoyable, but I didn't love the kaiju battle stuff as much as some others. Like I find it like enjoyable to watch, but like to play, it wasn't as deep as the actual game's combat. It's sort of cool to watch Bayonetta transform into a giant Godzilla or a spider, and you have these giant kaiju battles like every level, but it was sort of more redundant on me for a while. The story at the end, I don't hate it like some people. I have a lot of questions. That's sort of where I'll leave it without giving into spoilers there. It's interesting direction to take the franchise. But I think the standout was the new characters. The music is really, really fucking good. Music's always been good, but there's some new tracks in here that are really, really good. And visually, I think the other thing that stood out to me is visually, this game is showing, like, I didn't feel this way about Bayonetta 2. Maybe because I was playing it on the Wii U, and maybe even when that released in like 2010, even on the Wii U, I was a bit like, like it's not as good as my current like PlayStation console, but like it's all right. Whereas I did feel like playing this one, I was like, this looks worse than what I remember Bayonetta 2 looking like. And it's really annoying because the game, like Bayonetta's world and characters have such a interesting art direction that it's sort of just disappointing that I can't experience that in a much better console. Is like sort of it's annoying.
It's funny because even though the Breath of the Wild, what I'm playing is much the same, it is choppy sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like it is very scarily choppy, and that game is it's much older. So yeah, Completely
Even like the
understand.
last game I played in like the beat 'em up sort of hack and slash genre or whatever would have been Devil May Cry at like the PS5's launch. And
Yeah.
I'm
You have the OLED Switch, right?
yeah, like and it like colors, it looks nice and everything, but I mean it's still just like the resolution is
It's still running on the same
resolution
hardware
and the
pretty
frame
much,
rate
but
and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. That's sort of annoying me. So yeah, that sort of brings it down a little bit. But I still really enjoyed it. Obviously, I loved Bayonetta as a franchise. Came for the spin-off game and everything like that. But that's why it landed in number 8, not anywhere. Sorry, my top 5 or whatever. Ash, what's your number 7?
My number 7, FIFA 2023. I think, obviously FIFA consistent, you know what you're getting.
Rest in
This
peace,
year they
soldier.
really
F in the chats for FIFA.
Yeah,
in the
rip
chat
for
for
EA's
FIFA.
EA
So long,
Sports FIFA. I think with the way they handled the World Cup content this year was really fantastic and like felt like an addition. It felt like DLC to the actual game. Rather, of course, in past they've like released either paid DLC for the World Cup or its own title. So yeah, there's a lot of value for money. This year I got a little bit more into Ultimate Team for a while there. Not spending any money, but just kind of felt like I had to like log in, do my challenges, get as much XP as I could each section. But yeah, FIFA 23, it's the end of an era. EA Sports is not in the game anymore.
All right. Kieran, what's your next pick?
For my number 7, we come to Kieran's Ultimate Game Pass selection of 2022. It is Metal Hellsinger. I absolutely adored Metal Hellsinger in terms of...
I was like, Ash is like,
what is this shit? What is this shit that's going on right now?
I just want to say all these games that are available on Game Pass and they can crack number 7.
Well, it wasn't a great year. There was just other stuff going on. Like I will admit, no. So Game Pass has a great year. I think it's still great value. I think it's still
great
the best
value
deal in gaming. It's still the best deal in gaming. It's just not. This is a.
As we like to say here at the Explosion Network, it's about quantity over less quantity.
I don't feel like we do.
oh, we do.
say
Me and
it
Ash
do,
definitely
actually.
do.
We do actually. Okay, no. Now I think about it and actually process the words properly. We're fine. No, Metal Hellsinger is a great, fun experience that is just... You don't have to take it too seriously. You can just chill out, listen to that heavier rock music and metal music if that is what you're interested in. If you're not interested to, I think it's something you definitely should jump into and give a chance. Like, feeling... As soon as you get into the flow of the gameplay where you are hitting your attacks and your movement abilities to the beat of the song and it's getting quicker with your multiplier... It feels fucking good. Like, it feels really good. The whole music mechanic to Metal Hellsinger, I think, is something that shows that there is not only more room for rhythm games to be explored with in the gaming sphere, but the potential of rhythm games in general should, in one form or another, keep coming back and keep coming to returning. And devs do have more opportunities there to go back to and explore that a little bit more. So if you have Game Pass, which I'm sure you do because it has great value, check out Metal Hellsinger. I will say, had a much better time on PC than I did on Xbox, but that's just my dodgy hands with my controller. That is all the problem that was there.
My number 7 is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby's
Keep it PG, guys.
big old...
Stop it. We're gentlemen.
Kirby's
We're being gentlemen.
journey into adventure where just sucks up a lot of shit, doesn't it? No, so this...
A lot of stuff ends up in his mouth.
A lot of stuff ends up in his mouth, yeah.
His mouth just ends up full.
That was a different
In a
game.
mode.
That was actually a different game. That was a different game. That was the Fall Guys inspired one. This is a different one. Yeah, just to clarify. So this Kirby's this is like Kirby's first like Mario level 3D adventure. Obviously, it's not quite as good as any of the most recent Mario games, but this is like his first proper forte into a 3D adventure game. It has all the charm of the world and locations that you'll find in a Mario game, but it's just like it's a lot friendlier. It's not like super hard or anything, but not to say it's boring. It's just it's fun. It's wholesome. It feels good. There's puzzles and stuff to play here, but the typical Kirby gameplay is he can like if he sucks up a dude who's like a hammer thrower or whatever, you know, he becomes a hammer thrower and all these sorts of things. But the big thing with this game is you got mouthful mode. So Kirby can suck up a car, become a car. Kirby sucks up a cone, he's a fucking cone. Yeah, Kirby does some wild shit in this game, man. It's crazy. And in retrospect, the standout thing for this game is that not only are the boss fights really cool, like again, they're not really hard, but they're just deceivingly epic in their nature as the fights continue, and you have to combine Kirby's different abilities and the way he can transform different things and whatnot. But the way this story goes, this game has a wild fucking story. By the time you get to the last boss and you're fighting something in the sky, this giant transform thing, you thought you're like, what fucking game am I playing? Like, what is going on? This is some like next level like anime shit that I'm on, but it's all the better for it. So Kirby, one of my favorite experiences this year. Wild time, a lot of fun. Ash, what is your number 6?
My number 6, surprisingly, is a fighting game. Multiverses. The WB Games. I can't remember the exact studio.
Neither.
It's gonna kill me.
The Multiverses Studio.
The Multiverses Studio.
Come on. Google.
Play First Games, that's it. Managing to fit, not only like make all these different characters from different franchises all come together in this one fighting experience, making them all look good in the same art style and like make it all kind of fit perfectly, but while still being very true to the original designs and that kind of stuff is super impressive. And then just playing the game is like surprisingly fun. This like 2-on-2 Smash Brothers kind of game where you're like kind of working together to get the most knockouts or get to 4 knockouts first. Was super addictive. I spent many hours like putting in time trying to get good, and then you get, of course, for most of us, it gets to the point where all the good people start playing. It's like tough to keep going because we're not as good as a lot of other people. But yeah, a game that's like they've added a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different skins. I think it's season 2 now. Marvin the Martian is meant to come later this year. I think it probably the best launched ongoing game this year.
Wow.
I don't think there's much competition.
No, that's fair. Kieran, what's your pick?
A game that Ashley has already spoken about, Stray. I am a fan of animals. I love animals. And to have this, and I respect the attitude of cats in life. Dogs are great. You've seen my dogs on the podcast before. They love life. They're happy to see you. Cats are little assholes. They flip you the bird. They don't care. As long as you're going to feed them, you have to feed them. And to get the opportunity to see how that's brought to life in Stray, maybe not directly as much of it being a little asshole, but all the little interactions of the little things you could, like the paint cans you could knock off onto people, or messing with people. I think there's at one point a couple beings tossing boxes or paint across a rooftop, and if you scare them at the right time, they drop it and they get all mad and pissed off. Like there's just lots of stuff like that. And just those little details combined with the story at large, the escalation of levels, and going where no cat has gone before to get to somewhere a cat has gone before. I think it's a fantastic story that I enjoyed every moment of, and it was that perfect like kind of feel good bite-sized game that was extremely fun to play.
My number 6 is a game Ash has also mentioned so far, Vampire Survivors. So I only started playing it like a month back. Like I think I'd turned it on. And I'd only played like half an hour. I think last time we'd last episode of Arcade Capture.
So I inspired you to play Vampire Survivors.
I can say yes, but I could also say it's just seeing it on a lot of people's top 10 lists inspired me to play it. But that's fine. You can take the credit. It's fine.
Okay, cool. You're welcome.
I didn't start with the mobile though. I just jumped straight to. I've just been playing it. I only played on my Xbox, solely on Xbox.
Let's go!
Right, Game Pass, baby.
With the power of Game Pass, the power of Game Pass.
This game is like super fucking addictive, and it looks so bad. Like it's.
Well,
It's like it's not even like I'm not even saying like I'm saying this is one of the best my favorite games of 2022. It looks like shit. But like like just being honest.
That is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing that puts me off playing it because I've looked at it in Game Pass and it looks like somebody's vomited pixels.
Here's how I tell the second one. Do not look at screenshots of this game because you look at it or even video and you'll go, what the fuck is happening? This looks terrible. Why does this look like it's from the mid 1990s? And then you boot up the game and you're like, you just zone in.
just give it.
Just zone in. You're like, yeah. And then you get to the point too, once you start like remembering, like you start realizing what all the weapons are and stuff like that. And you'll get you'll get the pickup or whatever. And you'll get the three options for what you pick. And you start being like, I don't want any of this shit. Fuck you, game. And then you go, next thing you're like, don't want any of this either. Fuck you. And then you die and you blame it on the game because it gave you the wrong fucking weapon. So I know what I want. Yeah, I've been having.
Well, you need to learn to use everything.
Yeah, I just have I want the garlic straight up. Like that's what I want. I want the garlic.
That's
first
the most
pick,
helpful to
I want
start
garlic.
with,
I just fucking smash face once I get garlic. But yeah, the game's like soup, and you just zone the fuck out. The fact you can play it with one hand, you just sit there because for people that don't understand this game,
it's just
the game auto shoots.
It's just joystick,
right? The game auto shoots. All you do is move your character, and you're like, how's that fucking fun? Oh, you don't know fun. Like you know, you sit back. You had a hard day at work. You want to relax.
It's fun and satisfaction. Yeah.
Sit down, put this baby on, sit back, relax. One hand on the Xbox controller. You just you'll die after 15, 20 minutes.
The other hand.
I don't know.
How many games can you murder thousands of people with one hand?
And once you're like a few hours in, you can upgrade your stats too. For everyone who doesn't know, this is a roguelike, so you get money. You can spend that to buy like health regeneration, more damage, more XP per whatever, a bunch of things. So like you'll start getting further and further, and there are different levels you unlock and stuff as you play through the game. Like I think you have to beat like survive 10 minutes, and you'll unlock the next one. But you'll get to that point where you'll probably die after a couple minutes the first few times. But once you start getting into like close to that 20-minute mark on levels, and there's just fucking enemies everywhere, and you've got abilities going off left, right, and center. Anyone walking into your room goes, "I've no clue what's going on," and you're like, "I fucking know what's going on." Like, it's good shit. It's definitely good shit. All right, Ash, what is your number 5?
My number 5. Horizon Forbidden West, returning to the world of, Aloy, in her newest and biggest adventure yet. Absolutely beautiful, a crazy open world, lots of interesting side characters and people for you to explore, and like this obviously interesting overall narrative. It ends up feeling kind of like a middle chapter, but I had a really great time. Taking out robot dinosaurs and robot tigers and robot
bears,
deers. So robots, machines, Yeah, it was just a very satisfying time, I think there's like lots of smaller moments scattered throughout that were really great, different like little storylines and that kind of stuff that, made the whole experience very worthwhile.
Kieran, what is your midway pick?
Midway pick is Mary had a little lamb who made a cult for himself. It is Cult of the Lamb. It is probably the best indie game of the year.
Do you have any indie games above your list here? Do you have any indie games above this on your list?
No.
Okay, then. Fair enough. I just want to make sure you wasn't about to shoot yourself in the foot, but that's fine.
No. I definitely know that one. No, Cult of the Lamb was a fantastic experience, and a game that didn't finish, but my time I spent with it was enjoyable. The fact that I restarted the game, once I had a better understanding of like how the game worked and the different ways that you could build your character and build your cult around. I had a lot of fun with it. It's fun to explore. It's a great roguelike. The character and the art design is so much fun. It's an absolute great time, and I think if people haven't, it's definitely the game to go back to for last year and give it a try.
I can jump in here because my number 5 is Cold and Lamb. Also, so my pick is also Cold and Lamb. My review for the game would have been someone ate poo, they threw up, they decide to revolt. I sacrificed them. Great game. Killed them, sent them straight to Dell.
Whoa.
Woo, 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 woo,
You didn't chuck them in the stockade?
I think the thing that makes Cold Lamb so cool though is the roguelike element's good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. It's close to being great.
It's very Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not as good. It's
not like Hades.
No, it's not Hades. Right. So it's not like it's the marrying that gameplay to what you're actually doing with the base building. Like on a run, sometimes where you're especially in the early game, being well, I gotta fucking pick wood here because I need fucking wood, or get low on people and you're picking a corridor or whatever the map selection thing to go to a place to get a cultist because you need some people. It ties the gameplay into everything. Every choice you're making, even if you're not really thinking about it, is about your cult, your base, and everything like that. You're never just playing to get gold until maybe the late game. I feel like throughout the majority of the game, you're always playing for I know me personally, I was always fucking stone, man. Fucking everything needs so much stone, and I never had any. Wood, I was good. Stone, no, don't have none. Stone, there's none here, chopper. And that was just really annoying. So, art style's fantastic, character designs are fantastic, the audio design and the mix of different sounds and stuff like that, top notch, some of the best this year. Just that little chant they always did, gets stuck in my head. So, great. The boss battles surprisingly really, really good. Last boss took me 3 tries, I think, which is pretty good. It killed me the first couple times, so it was decently difficult, I guess. I was surprised considering I expected it to be a lot easier than it was. So, Cold Lamb, really, really good. Ash, what's number 4?
Okay, number 4. My top 4, they could be interchangeable any other day, but number 4, Marvel Snap. A card game that is still super fun to play. Of course, having that Marvel IP kind of is an easy way into the door. But I feel even if it wasn't Marvel, I feel if it was completely a new IP, I think it would still be one of the games of the year. I think the different mechanics they've got for each of the cards, just the way every match feels different. But purely because you've got these different locations every single time that kind of switch things up. Some of the cards that they've added since this game started have been absolutely crazy, whether it's freaking Agatha Harkness, who just plays all your cards for you until you can get it. She plays herself, or who was it, Galactus, he destroys all the worlds except for the one he's in or something. It's just super fun, and I've put a bunch of hours into it. I've hit 50 every single season so far. And you don't need to put money into it, even though it makes sense to pay for season pass. It's not a necessity. I think it's super fulfilling, even if you just trying to play as much as you can without putting any money into it. There's beautiful artwork throughout, and I feel the leveling up system's really solid. It's easily the best mobile game this year.
Kieran, what's your number 4?
Number 4 is the wonderful world and starting area of Limgrave.
What?
It's Elden Ring.
It's Elden Ring.
I know the starting area's name because I'm still in it too.
Look at him
I'm over the box. I'm still in the starting area.
Boom. He is. No, it is Elden Ring. I think a game where yes, I did delve deep into the depths of the game. I put probably 10 to 15 hours into it, and I suck at those games, so it was very much confined. I beat like the first major boss and then played through and explored the area.
The guy on the horse, right? Is that
no?
Is that this
I
one?
did beat him though. I definitely beat the tree sentinel, but he's not actually a boss. He's just a bloke roaming around on
the
his
hand
horse.
spider.
No, the first real boss is a statue thing inside of a room or whatever.
No, I would say it's Maggot. I think his name is Maggot.
I've watched so much of this game and played none.
None of it. Yeah. No.
Dylan's Award for the most watched game he watched on Twitch and YouTube this year, but never actually played himself. Goes to
played?
Elden Ring.
I think if we're talking about the game that's provided the most culture to the gaming community for the year, or has brought the community together in such a way, it is Elden Ring. I think from watching people play it to it being the most welcoming FromSoft game ever in terms of ability to jump into it. It's not overly punishing. It gives you options. It gives you the ability to explore. You never feel like you're trapped just fighting a boss. You could fuck off and go do something else if you're getting stuck. And there are actually ways to find items that make bosses easier in the game. To like Legends of I'll Solo Her, this pot-wearing player that would jump in and help people with the hardest boss in the game.
No. Not help people. Would only help if you stayed the fuck out of it. They would join your game,
but that's the thing.
You had to stay back or else they would leave.
You would. Because he wants to solo her, let's be honest. But yeah, no, it's I think it deserves its positions where it lies, and people, of course, it's always going to be based on who's played it and who enjoys those sorts of games. But I think it very much deserves its place inside the Gaming Hall of Fame, not only for 2022, but like in the hallmarks of history.
All right, my number 4, a really hard game that I played this year that wasn't Elden Ring, and I finished, is Sifu. So this came out early 2022, I guess, as well. I think it was like January, February. I think it was February. Obviously, it's the martial arts fighting game. Everyone sort of thought it was John Wick inspired and stuff like that. This game is, I think they've now added an easy mode or whatever, but so I'm sure it's like a lot more accessible now, which is good because the game's like a lot of fun and got a lot of style and cool music and whatever else. But playing that game for review nearly tore my. I went through all the emotions. I went through I'm never beating this game. I can't beat this game. I went through like dying to the second boss over and over and over and just being like, I'm gonna have to write a review and say that I really enjoy this game. But like I'm playing it out in my head, being like, I'm gonna have to write a review.
But I suck.
Yeah, but I cannot beat this fucking game.
But I suck.
And then I think there was a night where I was like, I think this is it. Like if I can't beat this boss this night, I'm fucking done. Like I can't. This game is just too fucking hard for me. And I just kept trying and did it. And eventually, obviously, it just sort of clicked from now on. I didn't power through the game because it's still like I died a lot on the rest of the bosses, but I sort of got there. But to go from a journey of I'm never going to be able to beat this fucking game to suddenly I've got the platinum, which was really fucking hard for anyone who knows anything about the platinum. Because Sifu is a martial arts game in which you start at age 20. Every time you sort of die, you age up like a year or two, depending on how many times you've died beforehand, and all these different sort of factors in it. And you can become an old man around age, I think 80 is like the max, so like 70-ish or whatever. By the end of the game, you'll hit harder the older you get, but you also have a lot less health. To get the platinum, I had to beat the game at a maximum age of 25 was the oldest you get. So that's like 5 deaths throughout the whole game. It was fucked. But yeah, for some reason. But definitely some of my strongest gaming memories, and also the most tense my arsehole's been in 2022. On many a boss fight. Many a boss fight.
Most puckered.
I'm just sitting here like, you need that last kick? Punch, and I'm like, if this motherfucker hits me once, I'm fucking blowing straight over. Like, I cannot take a hit here. Like, I don't know, I'm done. And the fact that every level is like, especially for it was just be like, when I was trying to do that under 25 run, it's like, and I'm dying. All right, restart level. Like I'm not, because I just can't, like I can't load back here. I just need to restart all the way from the start of the level. Like I need to beat the whole level without dying. That's the only way I can do this. So it's like, and restart whole level. And restart. Like it was never just restart the boss fight. It was if I fucked up on the boss fight, we're doing the whole fucking thing again. You know, like it was just fucking tedious. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite games. A really great game. And once you got the hang of the combat and that, like how to block, when to parry, all that, like you fucking zone the fuck in. It's crazy. But yeah, Sifu, number 4 on the list. Ash, we're into top 3. What is your number 3?
Top 3. My number 3. God of War Ragnarok. I think fantastic narrative game, a fantastic conclusion to this Norse saga. Maybe not the massive jump in like combat or anything from the last game. I think it's more of an iterative. Well, it definitely is an iterative. It's like an expansion of what they did in the last game, but they make a lot of bold narrative choices. And I feel like they've added or you get a greater look at the Norse pantheon of gods, who are all fantastic additions to the cast. Yeah, just a lot more to explore, a lot more to do. I finished the game, but I feel like I've still got so much that I can still do in the game. Still so many areas to explore and that kind of stuff. And yeah, probably the best easily the best narrative of the year. I mean, just all these beautiful emotional beats, fantastic acting across the board. Yeah, God of War Ragnarok is a fantastic game.
Boy. Kieran, what's your number 3?
Boy.
Number 3 is a game. Until yesterday, I was going to put a lot lower in this list, and I actually changed my mind. Because I actually cried because of this game last night.
Overwatch 2.
It is Overwatch 2. It is Overwatch 2.
Just
which
kept
sounds
stalling.
Fucking no.
Crying in frustration,
It sounds fucking ridiculous. No, I reached my highest rank, Diamond 3, that I've ever reached before.
Woo. Is that good?
In Overwatch 2 last night.
Ash was woo, and then silent, and then quiet.
It's good enough. Is that good? It's good enough. I've been forever stuck. I've reached Diamond once. In Overwatch 1, I got to 3010, and then instantly lost it and never touched it again. I've been hard stuck plat, and I fell down to gold. And it's one of those things on the DPS role that I have been working on and working towards since I've been playing Overwatch again. And with Overwatch 2, been probably putting in a bit more time for it. So, no, it is a game I absolutely adore. I have finished both battle passes so far. There's been 2 seasons. I have completed both battle passes, which to me, every time I've looked at battle passes for other games that I've been involved with that I picked up, I've never imagined finish battle passes. Honestly, I'm always like, oh, that's cool. They're really high. Like I don't put enough time into these games to get that. I think as a whole, maybe the community's being very harsh on Overwatch 2. I think Overwatch 2's provided a platform for Overwatch to be great again and to be actually be updated and to be accessible and to be loved. Sure, it isn't perfect, and there is a lot of work for Blizzard to do on its ranked system to make sure scrubs like me don't get into Diamond. But also, it's work around it being a live game for service, and that's something that Blizzard, in terms of Overwatch, has never done before. And of course, the skin prices are probably a little bit high, especially for us in Australia, and bits and pieces. But the gameplay itself is the best Overwatch has ever been. It's enjoyable. Sure, there is some characters that need some work and some tuning, but no, I absolutely adore Overwatch 2. I of course am hard stuck, sick loved, whatever, obsessed with this game in one way or another for since its release. But no, absolutely love it.
My number 3 is
also Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2. It's crazy.
Among Us.
Didn't play
right?
a minute, but it's Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Gotta get the points with the gamers. Immortality. This is the... I actually have no idea how the fuck to explain this game. I feel like that's a common theme. So this is Sam Barlow's latest game. You basically... start the game, you watch like the first clip. So it's like a clip from a movie, right? So you're sort of following this character called Marion something. Anyway, this actress. It's a fictional actress from like the 70s is where it starts, I think, or 80s. No, late 70s, I think. You're following this character's fictional actress's story. And all you do is watch a clip, and the clip could be from the movie itself. It could be a behind the scenes clip. And you're watching it, and then you're using a little magnifying glass, and you're clicking on something in the background, or you're clicking on one of the actors, or something like that, and it's taking you to another related clip. Now, that related clip may not be from that same movie. It may be from her third movie that she did in the fucking 90s, right before she disappeared. And that's the game. In a nutshell, you are clicking on things and watching live action pieces as you slowly piece together the story. Now, every now and then, you'll discover something. Again, this is one of those games that I know I read other people say something like this to me. I'm like, yeah, it can't be that twisty, surely, or whatever. You know, like, yo, I don't want to spoil it and stuff. Man, this game goes some wild, interesting places. You'll sort of discover things hidden between the clips, I guess, as you slowly start to piece everything together. This game is just, it goes in. I couldn't have predicted the direction that everything would go in this. You think it's just going to be like, oh, she was kidnapped or she was murdered or, nope. I don't want to spoil it, but nope. It's a lot more interesting than any of that. But I think the thing that makes this game so special is it's because it's almost voyeuristic in the way that you are learning about these characters. Because the first hour, I feel like, is a hump point. A lot of people are either going to play this game for the first hour and you're going to hate it, because you have no connection to these characters. You don't know who they are. There's no real introduction to the game. You're just sort of hard pressed up against that glass of you're just watching clips. However, if you start like pulling back those layers, you suddenly start to remember the characters' names. You suddenly start to realize this guy's the producer, this is the director, this is the actor. You slowly not only start piecing together the actors' stories and their behind the scenes drama and whatever else, you slowly start piecing together the actual clips of the movies that you're watching, and you start putting together the fictional story within the fiction. Like you start piecing together these three different movies and what they're actually about thematically, and some of them actually sort of interesting and how it all comes together that way. So I feel like also as someone who obviously really likes movies, maybe that sort of helps me get into this, because there is table read sessions. There is behind the scenes sessions where they're just practicing blocking of the camera and all these sorts of things. Like it's very well done, I guess, is the simplest way to put how everything comes together. And I had no idea. All I knew was there is an ending. I knew there was like a pseudo ending eventually to this game. I had no idea how he got it, but I will say for anyone who's actually played it, I mean, I was just sitting there one afternoon, I was watching these clips, I was like doing this, I was like, fuck, this game just did some wild shit. And the way the game eventually gives you an ending, it's a really unique, you've never played anything like it sort of experience. So I can fully understand why a lot of people, this is their sort of favorite game. I've seen a lot of people list this as number one or whatever else. I could also see a lot of people who say this is the worst game they played this year. Because as I said, I think that first hour, just because it doesn't have a typical narrative structure or way to introduce the characters, a lot of people are just going to hard press against that first hour and be like, this isn't for me, which is fine. But it is definitely a special experience from 2022. That's my number 3. Ash, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Call of the Lamb. As someone who has devoted hundreds of hours to Binding of Isaac, the gameplay, the combat was like right in my wheelhouse, right what I wanted, super satisfying. And then you add on top this base building elements, in which, you're building up this cult and like making decisions about which path you kind of want to take, of like, do you want to be a really mean cult leader or a really good cult leader, and like what different effects you had. I was devoured this game, played through it as quickly as possible. I played through this game when it was arguably at its worst. It's like better now. Like when I went back, like this is the only game I platinumed this year. When I went back to get the last like thing that was
There's a
like the
snails
platinum was
or whatever.
Necessary.
the snails thing that was like glitched.
Bugged. Yeah.
Bugs, yes.
The snails, so yep.
I was able to get all of my cult followers into the church, which makes a huge difference to the gameplay of the entire game. Whereas when I was playing it, it's just pick like 8 random followers to come into the church for all the gatherings. So like you couldn't specifically select who you wanted to sacrifice, and like you couldn't get rid of all the old people, that kind of stuff, like make decisions like that. So it was kind of playing with their handicap, but it was still a super enjoyable experience. I know they're about to have a bunch of new updates. I might jump back in and like try a different character, make some different choices, go the cannibalistic route. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, number 2. Leave it on that note.
Yeah.
Cannibalism is back in a big way this year.
It's
So.
true. Bones and all. Karen, what's your pick?
It is Marvel's Midnight Suns. I absolutely adore this game. This game is absolutely fantastic. It is Firaxis at their best in many ways. I didn't think I'd ever enjoy a deck building game as much as I do. With the different styles of combat, the different play styles of the different characters you get to pick and use, the different environments and enemy types that are in the game are absolutely fantastic. Sure, you might be, if you're going into it, you might be a little disappointed that they're very small arenas that you're fighting in. They're not the Firaxis style of large open world-ish kind of areas. Not open world-ish, but very open areas.
Big
to
levels,
explore. Yeah, big levels to explore. But I think without that, the game runs completely fine. And then to not only have this as Firaxis, but to have this Mass Effect, Persona, Dragon Age kind of style of hub environment where you can go meet all the characters and talk to them and develop relationships and take people on like dates or hangouts and give them presents and stuff. And on top of that, I was blown away the first time I walked into I explored the Abbey environment. I was fucking blown away that it was in the game. This massive area that is filled with places to explore, different lore, different chunks, getting different abilities to open up different areas. It almost like had this like Metroidvania style design to the Abbey, where it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to come back here when I have this new ability at some point, or I'm gonna need to remember that this is here because I'll need this for later. And to the more and more that place opens up, it's amazing. You're like, holy fuck! Like there is like this old kind of witches' coven style church you run into there, and it is the atmosphere and everything is amazing. And I absolutely I think Marvel's Midnight Sun was way better than it deserved. It had any right to be. I think it's a fantastic Marvel game. I think it draws back to the akin to the Ultimate Alliance games when they were out. Like it is so much fun. It is so enjoyable. If you enjoy Marvel in any way, I strongly suggest that you pick up this game, because I think it gives you access to not only characters you love, but some characters you probably don't have much time with that really get to grow on you.
All right, my number 2 is God of War Ragnarok. Everything Ragnarok. I obviously had some complaints about God of War 2018. It's a whole, or 2020, whatever it was. It's a whole joke that hate the game. Apparently, according to Ash, just hate trolls. This game.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. So this game is So when Ash is saying, like maybe it didn't build upon the combat enough and all these sorts of things, I feel like this game just built upon it enough to fix my major issues with the first one. So now I like this one as much as everyone liked the original one. It's sort of how I feel about this one. Like this is the one, the way everyone was loving the first one and saying it's like the best thing ever. I'm at that with this. Like I'm enjoying this one the same way that people were years ago, where I wasn't quite there. I thought the story is fantastic. The characters are all just so fleshed out. The villains are phenomenal. The voice acting, the acting is insane for some of the Odin in this. I cannot get over how well the portrayal and the direction that Odin goes through in this game is insane. The Kratos' story, the way it plays at the end of this game, I was like, fuck, that's I can't believe you've actually made me care about this character, that this is like this emotional beat in the last sort of 2 seconds of the game. It never rolls through Kratos, but before, like, I guess, anyway. If you play the game, you know what I mean. Like, the last, like, sort of story thing that happens before the end of the game, that's, like, this emotional beat for Kratos as a character. I was like, I can't believe that I actually care about this. Because years ago, I was like, Kratos is the worst video game character, the most bro bullshit character you could have ever think. And to have him go on, like, this journey where I'm actually fully aboard his arc and everything like that. Atreus gets such a bigger arc story in this one than the first one, a much more fleshed out original character. Freya is also, I think, underspoken about of how good she is in this game after dealing with the loss of her son in the first game and everything like that, and how the mother relationship's a lot, like, probably the least, actually sort of annoying to me. Like, it's hard to talk about without spoilers, but the mother relationship in this game compared to like the father relationship, like there is father relationships in this, but I do feel like the mother relationship to their children is very important in this game, more so than it was in the first one. And you have all these other more mother characters in it that are all really, really good as well. So amazing boss fights, the fucking giant boss fights, sort of epic stuff that you sort of used to for God of War. Fantastic music, of course, it looks fantastic. God of War is just phenomenal video game, that true AAA, like, fucking look how good this is, look how good it sounds, like, this is the true power of my PlayStation sort of experience. And hits on all marks. So God of War Ragnarok. Ash, what is your favorite game of 2022?
My favorite game for 2022 is Marvel's Midnight Suns. As someone who's played a lot of XCOM, and as someone who's played like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and X-Men Legends and those kind of like Marvel team games, this was like the perfect divergence of all those loves. Having the card-based combat, which I think works perfectly. I think having this large cast of characters, I think like in Marvel Alliance and all those sort of games, you would pick your like couple of favorite characters, and like they would be the only ones you ever play with. With Midnight Suns, I felt like I got the most enjoyment out of like rotating and trying different characters, and like obviously if you play with the different characters, you unlock more cards for them to make them better and that kind of stuff. But everybody was super enjoyable to play with and unique in their own ways. And then adding all the social elements on top, getting to know all these different characters. Blade is a character I did not really care for before this game. After this game, I'm looking forward to the Blade in the MCU, Sure, he's not going to be Blade in Midnight Suns, but, it'd still be pretty cool to see him.
It's just, he gets a lot more depth than probably what you ever saw with the Wesley Snipes version.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this game is just filled with crazy scenarios that these characters are thrown in. Blade, Captain Marvel, and Captain America start a book club. And they just talk about books.
And the first book is The Art of War.
Yes, by Sun Tzu.
Because it's Blade's favorite book.
And there's obviously all these different characters coming together. There's so much reading you can do. There's so much lore that you can look into. So many little Easter eggs. Like even all the different gifts are like really cool. Like items like specific to Marvel history. And the story actually got me. It like the finale was like an epic final confrontation. But then it like hit me emotionally at the end, seeing how my Hunter's story came to an end in this game.
I actually didn't say it during mine section, but they made a fill-in character or an in-place character that doesn't totally suck. Like the Hunter is actually
if they if they ever expanded on the Hunter, like I would be on board.
Yeah.
Also, I assume did you pick a male Hunter? Not being sexist. Nope. Okay.
No, I played a female.
You didn't
Hunter.
hear the dulcet tones of Matthew Mercer the entire time.
No, I did not.
You missed out. But yeah, just and then all the crazy like accessories you can unlock throughout the game. Super fun, like having Hunter walking around in like I unlock like an Iron Fist like tank top at one point. He's just walking around in these important meetings wearing this. Just really silly. And there's a dog that you can pet, and you get bonuses every single day if you pet that dog.
That dog is yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good time.
They are a good girl.
Yeah.
All right, Kieran, what is your favorite game of 2022?
You guys have both spoken about it. It is God of War Ragnarok. I think to explore what Dylan has already said in terms of writing that makes Kratos an actually interesting character, and for a good part of this game, a character that you feel for and feel sorry for, and that you know, my heart rings out for him at so many times, and it's so crazy to see this man, and you compare it to he is the same person as was in those early Dude Bro sex mini game God of Wars that, you know, the characters didn't really give matter because all it was a vehicle for you to bash the head in of the next god. To see him full swing, to see more Atreus, and as you said, Dylan, Freya, I think the characters in the story, I think many ways this game doesn't remake the wheel of itself. It just improves on it at all times. I think to play God of War and then you have this the first major side quest in the game. We alluded to when we spoke about this when it initially came out. The first side quest of the game was absolutely phenomenal. And I couldn't believe the level of depth that was in this. I think the writing, I've been wowed by this since 2018's God of War, is the direction and the quality of camera control to have everything in a single camera. To never have any cutaways, to have everything flow and be natural, and how that switches from character perspectives when it's switching you over to a different character is absolutely amazing. And all the new characters they added in, fuck it, Odin can be like a New York, Boston style mob boss, you know? Like, it's just such an interesting and fun game to play. And it's a story that I think is really special to experience.
All right. My number one favorite game of 2022, Marvel's Snap. No, I did not play Marvel's Midnight Sun. Sorry, not yet. Marvel Snap. I've played this game every single day since the release. I haven't stopped. I keep playing it. I play it every day. It's non-stop. It's a game of, like, if it tracked hours, I'm
how often do you
every
play?
Day. Like every single day.
You should have said that earlier. I don't understand why it's
I play it every day at least. Like, I play it in the morning. I play it probably at lunch quickly. Play it at night. Like, fucking.
Every other day? Or
no, every day, son.
Like
every single day,
every day, bro.
Like, which days of the week?
Like Sunday to Sunday, bro.
That's just the one day.
Yeah. Sunday to Sunday.
Is the one day.
Is it every day that ends in a Y?
It's every day, bro.
Fuck you.
But yeah, it's definitely not the Marvel thing. Like, nothing against Marvel. Like, I don't think it matters if this is DC or Marvel. The reason I like this game is because I really like card games, and this is quick fix, fucking good fun card game on the go. Like, that's like it. I knew from the get go when they announced it. I'm like, if this is good, I'm hook, line, sinker. Like, I know this is gonna get me right in. Like, a 6-turn card game, deck building. From the outset, I'm like, this speaks to me. Like, as a person, this speaks to me. I can wake up in the morning. I can play a game or two while I'm like making my coffee and getting ready for work and everything like that. Like, and it only takes like 5 minutes. Oh, yes, you are speaking to me. Like, and yeah, there are times I sit down for like half an hour, like, or maybe I'm watching an episode of something and I'm sort of just playing it in the background at the same time and stuff like that. Sure, but at bare minimum, on busier days, I'm just playing it quick. I get my couple games in, gotta get those at least those easy challenges out of the way, you know, every day. Maybe the hard ones I can't, but like if I'm short for time, I can just knock out those easy challenges and stuff. But yeah, and it's not to say I don't have
bank them.
Yeah, what? It's not to say I don't have complaints about the game. Like, I'd love to see a battle pass that everyone got for free, as well as a premium battle pass. Like, I'd love to see the price of the the packages or whatever go down drastically because they're way too overpriced. Like at the moment, they've got like the anime bundle that's like $79.95, and I'm like, I want those cards, not for $80. Nope, nope. I ain't caring. I ain't doing it. It ain't no fucking Valorant Golden Gun, baby.
I ain't Kieran. Fuck yeah. Man.
I don't have it in me. But I mean, I've managed to buy the one most expensive thing I brought in the game was I did save up like all my gold for like ages, and then I brought the what's his name? I brought the Sunspot bundle. That was like.
Oh, you ended up burning enough gold.
Yeah, I earned enough gold and I got the Sunset bundle, which was like 6,000 gold or something like that. But that was all just straight up earned. Like I just had the gold. Like, so you can play for free and get some of the premium products, sure, but obviously you have to play a lot and stuff like that. I have spent money on the game. I buy the battle pass every month, obviously, but I just wish some of the other premium items were still slightly easier to obtain or like worthwhile, I guess, if that makes sense, you know. If that anime bundle was like around $30 or something, I'd buy those anime cards if they were around $30. I'm not paying fucking 80 though, but I love looking at I love like a new card every month coming out, and then because of the game or the deck's only being 15 cards, it's one card can completely change or create a new archetype or change an archetype or something like that. Like, because compared to the card games I'm used to playing, like Magic and stuff like that, where you got 60 card decks and whatever else, because the decks are only 15 cards, it does mean
12.
Sorry. Because because the deck's are only 12 cards, it does mean you can build entire decks around one card because you're going to get it most of the time. You can build decks around combos and having that be a win chance. Like, you're not going to go off 100% of the time, but you can build decks around that. Whereas in other card games where you've got like, a 1 in 60 chance of drawing it, or if you put 4 copies in and you increase it, even then you've still got such a slim chance and all these things that can go wrong, where this game is just built a lot differently. So, yeah, I love it. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm always looking up, seeing what's like, look at the leaks and seeing what people reckon is going to come next and all these sorts of things. Like, I like just upgrading my cards. I like, like there's that aspect too of just like, oh man, I can't like, I'd love to save some gold and get like this variant and then level it up. And, like there is that aspect of the card collection on top of the game. That's sort of fun. Cause sometimes I save up all my, credits and my whatever else, until I've got like, because they up the max to like 9,000 or 10,000 or whatever, so I'll just save it and I'll spend like half an hour just upgrading cards I want. But then sometimes I'm like I've got a fuck ton left and I've got no variants or stuff I want to upgrade, so I'm like, I don't want to upgrading. Like, I'm pretty bored of these cards. Like, I want to whatever. Yeah, I need to like get a cooler card and stuff like that. And then sometimes I see people play cool variants on me and I have to do the whole like shiny eyes reaction on it. I'm like, oh, I want that. Like, I'd love to have that in my deck. Like, that'd be cool. So yeah, I really love it. I can't wait to see what they do over 2023, the building, by adding in the versus mode and whatever else they got coming up over the next year. So yeah, definitely the most exciting release of the year for me. Like, I know it's not a huge like epic pick, it's a fucking card game, but like, if I had to be completely honest with myself, I'm like, this is the game. Like, if I think about 2022, like that's the game of the year for me. It's like Mel Snap. Yeah. So Ash, did you have any honorable mentions or anything like that?
I had a couple other ones. 2 Point Campus was a game I reviewed this year. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, it iterated like a twist on the 2 Point Hospital, but with like universities. Really fun, really funny, easy to devote hundreds of hours to. Tunic was really good with the time I played with it. I just did not, finish it. But I was having a really good time playing that. Nintendo Switch Sports, that was a good release this year. Really nice to be bowling again, and the addition of volleyball was a cool thing to add. If you're good, and then another game that I didn't probably put enough time into, but Teenage Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge felt like going back to my childhood. All those like the arcade games, or the like, obviously the Super Nintendo games and that kind of stuff. all the games that you can now play in the Cowabunga collection. Like, it just felt like one of those. And then, obviously being able to see like other people have like 7 people fighting at the same time is freaking crazy. So yeah, those are the ones I want to shout out.
Kieran, did you have any shout outs?
No. I kept it nice and precise with 10. I think.
You only played 10.
Gotta plan ahead, I got 3 shout outs. I'd like to shout out Plague Tale Requiem. I'd like to shout out Neon White, and I'd like to shout out Elden Ring as the 3 games I really wished I'd played in 2022.
I was like, wow, you played those?
No, I wish.
And then Elden Ring, it's like, oh, you never did play any of these.
Shout out to the top 3 games that Dylan wishes he had played in 2022.
Dylan wishes he had played, and Elden Ring's one of them. And you've made it
I
a
wish
me where
I
you
had
sat
the
there with
effort.
a fucking.
I
wish I could have
wish
got
plastic
the game.
was so much easier to open.
You know what? I'd rather be me and fucking buy pixels for a fucking game that I'm enjoying playing than to buy a fucking game and just leave it there fucking wrapped.
Part of the show now.
Think about how much content we've got out
I
of this.
was about to say, like, it's part of
It's paid for itself.
it's paid for itself. The
It
narrative.
hasn't. No.
It's part of the universe. It's part of
No.
the Explosion Network.
No.
Add up all the minutes.
No, we've made 0 money out of this content. Like, it is.
At least a couple of cents.
No. And let's throw it over to our first sponsor. No one.
If you're listening to this on the
Elden
website,
Ring.
look at the Google AdSense ad over there. Click it. And down there. Yeah. Whoa. If you're listening to this, explosionnetwork.com/support. All right, that'll do it for our Tuesday Weird Drop episode of Arcade Couch. Of course, again, we are in Games Week for our Best of 2022 coverage, so make sure you check out explosionnetwork.com/best of 2022 for all of our articles going up throughout the week. If you want to check out our TV stuff, that's all up. Our top 10 TV shows, our top 5 best supporting actors and all this sort of stuff. It's all up. It's on the same page. You'll see
Best leading actors in a drama. Who is number 1 will shock you.
Whoa.
To your core.
What? Are we Are we fucking BuzzFeed? Like, are we? Sorry, what? We clickbaiting mid-podcast now?
Yes, we are.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
And you can tune in
That's our goals in 2022.
next week as well. Best of 2022 will be our movies week, of course. So the first official episode, I've already forgot the date. The first official episode of Arcade Couch after this
January 23rd.
will be January 23rd. There you go. Good job. All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. We will see you in a couple weeks' time as we kick off 2023. Goodbye.